At big pro-Palestinian rallies like this one the other day in Toronto, you'll hear it.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Some see it as a rallying cry. Others consider it a call to eliminate Israel. In Montreal, too, you could hear that phrase over the crowd of thousands.
When we say we want Palestine to be free, it's from the river to the sea.
The U.S. Anti-Defamation League labels it an anti-Semitic slogan. Canada's Federation CJA agrees.
When someone says, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, I question, where do you see the Jews going? That is hate speech, right? Because it is into the sea that they seek to send the Jews.
Some say it's more complicated.
We can't always assume the meaning of this or how a particular speaker intends it to mean.
We'll get back to that in a moment.
First, it's worth explaining that phrase refers to the land between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River, including the two present-day Palestinian territories, the Gaza Strip and the occupied West Bank. But calling for a free Palestine in that entire area is often interpreted as a wish to wipe Israel off the map.
In the 1960s, the Palestine Liberation Organization demanded the region return to an earlier era with only Palestine extending from the river to the sea. The PLO later embraced a two-state solution. But then Hamas co-opted the phrase as a murderous plot against Israel. Palestine is our land and nation from sea to the river, from north to south, said this Hamas leader, and we cannot cede an inch or any part of it. In its founding platform, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party used similar wording to say quite the opposite. Between the sea and the Jordan, it read, there will only be Israeli sovereignty.
To you, what does it mean?
When we talk about from the river to the sea, we're talking about a place that we call home.
Palestinian-American writer Yusuf Munayyer uses that phrase, he says, to reflect the hope of freedom and dignity. He insists the dreams of Palestinians don't have to mean nightmares for Israelis.
From the river to the sea today, there is one state, an Israeli state, that rules over millions of people, Palestinians, who don't have equal rights, who are not free. That's what has to change. That doesn't mean that there should be any violence against Israelis.
U.S. Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaib posted, "From the river to the sea is an aspirational call for freedom, human rights, and peaceful coexistence, not death, destruction, or hate."
I'm the only Palestinian American serving in Congress, Mr. Chair, and my perspective is needed here now more than ever.
But the House voted to censure her.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
In Calgary, this activist was charged with a hate-motivated disturbance for encouraging the crowd to chant what police called an anti-Semitic phrase. In an online briefing, Toronto police announced a different approach.
I'm not going to speak generally in terms of other chants, but if we're talking about that specific one, no, it would not meet the threshold of hate propaganda.
The phrase may be considered a rebuke of Israel's policies, but is it anti-Semitic? Dov Waxman says not always. He leads UCLA's Center for Israel Studies.
It is clearly an anti-Zionist slogan. Although I don't support a one-state solution, I don't think it's inherently anti-Semitic to advocate for one.
It sounds like what you're saying is what it means largely depends on who's saying it and what they mean by it. Is that true?
Exactly. And also even where it's said and to whom it's said. So, it's one thing about chanting that in a political rally. It's another thing, going into a synagogue and yelling it.
In such tense times, words carry weight. Meanings and feelings count. Perceptions matter. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.